Welcome to part 3 of building my LED Doom Scythe. Today I'm going to show you how I fit all these components inside this model. So stay tuned to the very end when I light it all up for you. Here on Modeled. Modeled! Okay, to begin with, we're going to use a printed circuit board here, this generic one, where you can just add stuff to it and solder it. Now this particular one has a special center where if you put a chip in the center, then it's connected to 2 pins. So I could hook up 2 things to each pin, nice and easy on this board. So these boards are pretty cheap. On eBay I think it was 10 of them for $5 or something like that. So we want to put this inside the center of the Doom Scythe here. Now we're going to have to cut that. So I got my little micrometer here, measure. The width anyways, let's start with the width. I think the best I could do, I'm looking at about 22 millimeters. If you look on our board here, we could just about fit just the center part, which is good because that's all I need. Because I'm just going to make everything come out from the chips. And now the width. This still's pretty cheap. You don't really need this, use these for but we're looking at 50 millimeters or 5 centimeters. And so I could put about that much. So I'm just going to mark that up with some marker, and then I'm going to cut it with a rotary tool. It's pretty good in there. Okay, now I'm just gonna solder these. I forget what they're called. These things you put the chip in. Because if you solder the chip right to the board, you get a chance of burning the chip out. And these things, you can just clip the chip in and take the chip out with these things. So if your chip does break in the future, you could always replace it. And so you solder to the copper side. So that means I gotta place all the components in from the other side. So it's kind of like reverse. And we got this thing here. Let's zoom up. It's called a helping hand, and it's kind of like mandatory for electronics, but it's good too for modeling. I'm just going to use this to kind of hold that in there while I solder. Let's zoom in here. Sloppy. Now when you're soldering, you don't want the solder to spill onto the next side. You want to keep it on one area, or else it's called a solder bridge, and then you get a short that way. See right there, the solder bridge. So that means this is going to be connected to that side. but I could fix that. I'll just I got some solder removal. It's like a copper strip, and I'll just heat that up and go in between and get rid of that. I'm just putting on a little too much solder. I haven't soldered in a while. Now, a way to test this, if you can't go by eye to see if there's yet a solder bridge or not, you could use a multimeter and put it on a continuality test to see if there's a connection. And so you would just go on each side, see if it's connected, it beeps. So touch them like that. Make sure it's not beeping. That means the solder is not bridging and there's no short. Perfecto. Okay, to continue, we want to have the diagram out so we got something to follow. And I'm going to start with putting the components that go onto the board first. And that's the components. Basically, I just got a capacitor and two resistors right here, and they're going to go connect to the timer. And right here on this diagram here, it tells you exactly what goes to what pins. And on pin number 1 would start at the top left and go down to pin 4, and then go across to the bottom is pin 5 and all the way up. And so we're going to get capacitor, starts off connected to the negative, ground, and then it goes up, connects to this resistor, and then connects to pins 2 and 4. If you notice, we've got 2 and 4 are connected together, and pins 2 and 6 are connected together, and 4 and 8 are connected together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a wire connection first. The first thing I'm going to do is connect those 2 pins together, so that way I just have to hook the capacitor to that and to the resistor. And that's what I'm going to do first. Okay, 4 and 8's done. I usually use the same color wires for the same sort of thing, just so you kind of know, because this is just these are just connected to each other. That's it. Another good use for these clippers is you want to clip off the ends of the wire when you're done. Less chance of a short. Okay, so now let's put the capacitor in there. Okay, now I'm going to start putting the LEDs in. And for that, on the slots where they're going to go, I'm going to use a pin vise and put a hole in there. Do that for all 8 of them. Pin vise is a very handy tool. You'll find you need a lot. Okay, so I'm going to put the negative on the bottom and the positive on the top, I think. Doesn't really matter. So the negative will go there, so I can't really do the same thing on the top and just put a hole in, because the LED is going to be already in by the time I put this top down. So it's got to kind of like rest on that. So instead of putting a hole on the top one, I'm just going to get my hobby knife out and just cut out a little indent here for that positive end of the LED, just to fit right in there like that. So when this goes over, so I'm just going to finish that up now. Okay, I decided to put the, I don't think it really matters, but I decided to put the negatives on the bottom because I'm dealing with resistors on the positive side, so maybe it'd be easier to work with them if they're on the top. So I guess the hardest part is one in the end. So I want to get that in there. I have to kind of measure, and I don't want these to actually go all the way into the thing. When I put the top piece on, it might be hard to get on, so I'm just gonna like kind of like measure from the end, like glue it to the lip here. So I'm just gonna measure, you can see that, and my clippers, and then I'm just gonna clip the lead here. Clipping these leads, they could shoot out anywhere. So it's good to have some glasses on there, safety glasses. Okay, so if you can see that there. And then I'm just going to glue that in there. I'm going to put some glue in the hole, and I'm going to put some glue on the end there. Some crazy glue. I like to use the gel kind. It doesn't drip everywhere. And just make sure you're getting the alignments of the LEDs right. You can tell by looking inside the LED which one is the negative lead and which one's the positive. The negative has sort of like this, I can't really show it right now, it has like a lip. It's bigger on the inside of it, but the best way to tell is that the longer lead is the positive of the LED. Okay, there's they're all glued in. Negatives are all on the bottom, and they now have to be connected all together. All together as one. Okay, while that's or drying, I'm going to work on another part of the project. So we're going to start getting the positives going, and we need resistors. So you can either put the resistor in the end towards the LED, but I decided I'm gonna put the resistor right on the chip, right coming out of the chip. So if we go to our reference page here, you can see the first row. There's pin 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter the order, but each one of these is getting a resistor, a pin out. So I know the whole left side all the way down to ground is getting a resistor, and the bottom 3 on this side. So we'll go back to the chip. So here's the ground here, you know that's not getting one. All the way down here, and the bottom 3. So that fourth one on the top, that's not getting any resistor. So you look on the side here, all the way down to the ground, and the bottom 3. So I'm going to solder those in right now. Okay, all finished. Now remember, in the end product, you don't want any of these wires touching at all. So you got to take a, you got to consider that when you're finished. Nice way to do that in the end is like hot glue gun works to help seal that. Okay, I'm gonna connect the negative terminals of the LEDs now, and for that I'm gonna use solid core wire. So to start, I just trimmed off a little end there. I'm gonna make it into a loop. It's kind of hard to wrap it around the end there. It's such a small fit. So I'm gonna wrap it in there. Let me get my helping hand. Where is it? Get that. It's helping. Help me, my helping hand. Need a little bit of tension on there. So there we go. Oh, a bit more. Okay. Heat this up, but you don't want to get it too hot or burn the LED out. Okay, so heat it up. You want to be touching the LED and the wire at the same time. Then apply the solder. Let go. And when you let go, you're hoping there's no movement. Because if the wire moves while you let go and then it cools, because it cools pretty quick, it'll cool and there'll be like a gap because it moved and it won't be touching. And that's like called a cold solder joint. So that's in there. It's good. Now going through this, I should test the LED right now to make sure I didn't burn it out. So let's do that. Okay, you should have like a handmade LED tester because it's pretty handy because you always got to test everything. See, it works. Because if it didn't work, if I blew it out, you want to know right away. It's going to be a pain in the ass, you're going to have to switch it, but it's better to know now than later and it doesn't work. It'll be harder to find out what's wrong. So always test everything as you're doing it. Test, retest. I forgot LEDs 9 and 10. Well, I didn't forget them, but I might as well do that now. There's going to be one LED there for 10 and one LED there for 9. They're both going to be red. And that's like right in the center here. So I'm going to have to get these ready and get the negatives connected to these now. Okay, I didn't show it, but I got the two LEDs connected, one on each side. Negative to negative. It's going in there and it's going in there. But that doesn't come until the end. Because this piece here doesn't go in until I got the two caps on and everything's on. You really got to think ahead when doing this stuff, and modeling too in general. You got to think ahead, but especially so when you're LEDing. You really got to think ahead. Okay, now I'm gonna connect a flexible wire. As you can see, it's flexible. There's flexible wire and a solid core wire. Solid core, they each have their advantages and disadvantages. Flex is good for flexing. if you gotta like lay it around corners and everything like that. Whereas solid core will snap if you flex it too much. So, but this flex core that I got has some little tinted leads in there, which is good for soldering to circuit boards. Makes it easier. But I'm trying to wrap this around the resistor. Ideally, I'd probably just strip it, and then wrap it around the resistor. See how this goes. But I don't want to blow out the resistor, but I want to solder this as close to the resistor as possible. That should be good. That way, I don't have to worry about shorts. Make sure it's connected. See? Once you got it, then you can just snip the end. And I want to do that to all 10 of these. Now I got a flexible cord that could go around and connect to the LEDs. So once I do all 10, it's going to be it for the night. Finish it tomorrow. Okay, I finished. All 10 are soldered. And these ends just have to connect to the LEDs, and that's it. Trim them and connect them, and that's it. Put the chip in. But you can see here, like these could touch and short out. And we don't want that, so I'm gonna have to make sure that these are covered. But that was a lot I did today. I was putting it off doing this. That's why it's so long since this video. I didn't really feel like doing this sort of project at this time. But I knew it had to be done, so today I said, okay, after work, I'm getting this going. So now it's the hard part's done. It's all downhill from here. Now just look at, I'm not even done yet. Now look at all this stuff. All these wires, just to go in to LED this thing, just so it could just blink like this. I gotta have all this stuff in here. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. That's a lot of work, man. If you wanna buy this, you gotta pay for it. Okay, now I'm gonna start to put this circuit board inside here. Now, these are the two negatives, and so they gotta go to the negative power supply, which is the one that's blue is connected to. This long bar is all one, and this one on the top is the positive. So I want to connect that on this side and this on this side. Okay, going back to my map with the chip and the pins here. You can see the pin number 2 on the left is 1, but we start at 0. So pin 3 is 0, 1 and 2, and 3 is down here. So just remember pin 3 is 0. So that's going to be the first one, and that's going to be here. So pin 3 on this thing. This blue wire here. This blue wire is got to connect to this through here. So I probably want to trim some of that wire off and solder it. Okay, finished all the wiring now. Now I'm just hoping it works. So before I insulate all the wires there with paint, I'm gonna put the chips in. Now these chips can be destroyed by static electricity. Normally you wear like a wristband, insulated wristband, which I don't have and never had, so I just hope I don't create a spark. So this is going to be kind of tedious and tricky. What you want to do is you want to make sure you don't bend the pins and you want to get in there, so I'm just going to do it off camera because I'll probably be a bit. Okay, I've yet to try it, so I don't know if it works or not. Just getting my power source here. There's the positive. As soon as it touches it should start working. You ready? Here we go. Come on. Seems like it works. Let me turn the lights off. Oh, I got one more light. This one I gotta unplug for the wall. It works, but I'm thinking it could be a little bit brighter though, eh? It's not that bright. Well, it is bright enough, but we'll see. You gotta be able to notice it in the daytime. There we go. It works. Okay, I'm so happy it works. After all that, it's a lot of work, eh? It's probably not even worth it. But it's just like anything else in this hobby, you know? You do it because, you know, you enjoy doing it. Something to do, right? Something to build. It's very tedious, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to insulate all these wires there so they don't short out on me when I close the lid. And then once that's done, I can close the lid, and I just got the guns to work on. And then I can start painting. I was really dreading doing this. And I was busy with other stuff, that's why it took so long for this video to come out. It's Christmas and I had lots on the plate. So I'm really glad to get this part over with. Okay, I put these two LEDs in there. I had to use a little bit of green stuff because I drilled this hole a little too big. It was too small, and then I tried to make it bigger with the knife, modeling knife, and then I made it too big. So I put some green stuff in there. So now these are crazy glued in there, and I'm gonna let that dry because when I drilled this whole base broke in two, and I had to glue it together. So I'm gonna let this dry for a while before I proceed. Okay, everything works, and now it's time to close the lid. For that, I'm not going to use plastic glue because that will like permanently seal it. I'm going to use a crazy glue just in case. I don't plan on taking this thing apart again, but just in case I do that or something goes wrong and I do decide to go in there again, you have a good chance of getting it apart with the crazy glue by snapping it back out. So I'm just going to go around once. I already put it on once just to see if it fit, and it does, but still might have a little trouble. So this little part on the front, that goes on after. I gotta put this piece on, and then another piece on top of this, and then that goes on. So I'm just making sure I cut 2 holes on the side here, so these 2 wires can fit down in there. So I gotta make sure I'll get that going first. Very tricky work. You see why I've been putting this off for a while. You gotta be in the mood to do stuff like this. Okay. All right. Okay, I might get some I got a full tube, would have been easier. Okay, it's all sealed. Now I want to make sure it works after all that. No wires shorting out or anything like that. So, let's plug it in. Yeah, it's working. It's kind of bright in here, so it might be hard to see the LEDs. But it's still working. Okay. Now I'm just going to put this cap on, get rid of this. Plastic cement glue this cover on. Okay, now for the death ray gun. I started off by chopping that front piece off. And I put 2 holes in there for this thing. I'm going to use this LED, this big red one. That's what I decided to use. And that way these 2 pins could fit in there. Now I want to, I got these LEDs going in this hole. And got these red ones, tiny ones going in this hole. And these flashing ones, a little bit bigger, they're going in this hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the pin vise just to start out the hole. Get the center marked. That's for the drill bit, so the drill has something to go on. Vise is a very handy tool. Okay, now I'm gonna get my drill. And start off with the smaller bit. You want to get a bit that's like around the size of that, so that's a little bit smaller, as you can see. But it's better to start out small and then work your way up. So, let's see here. One. It'd be too hard to go from the outside in. once you got the hole, stick it in, let it make it more circular there. Okay, now try to fit these in. Make it tell it's too small. So now I'm going to go to a bigger bit. One step up. And then just make the hole a little bit bigger. That's why it's better to start small. One goes in nice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them in, but I'm gonna keep all the positives up. So I'm gonna use this this part of the model here where it goes into the gun. That's gonna be the positive side, just so I remember everything when I trip. So you can tell that the red goes through nice there. Okay, I got my next size bit. And I hope it's not too big. There you go. Now, oops. Excuse me, it's my phone. Okay, now the tricky part is I gotta glue these in, and I gotta solder these to connect it like this together, and then I gotta attach this over the other one. But the trick is I have to be able to solder them where they're exactly the right distance apart so it fits together perfectly. Okay, there we go. Very delicate work. I tested the LED, it still worked. So I want to make sure it works. You didn't burn it out. So now we'll see if it fits. I painted the top red again because it came off. Don't lose track of the positive. Well, actually, you could tell just by looking inside the LED which one's negative too. Forget about that. So, see if it fits. Nice. I'm going to do this with each one, and I'm not going to glue it in yet until they're all nice and firm in there. And with this red one, that's got to go inside and connect to those two. Okay, I think I got something I could try. So they're all connected there. And this other one will have to go somehow like this on top of that. And then I'll have to just solder them all together, and then maybe paint all this up so they don't touch. Okay. This is totally not what I planned originally. I guess that's how it goes. You know, you try to find a solution to a problem, and then you realize, oh, it doesn't work. Find more problems. Okay, there we go. Almost done. Now I'm gonna test it, see if it still works. So next step is insulate this and see if I can fit it together. Then I'm done for this stage. Yeah, I forgot one thing, is that now I gotta get the wire out of here. And then I was gonna put the resistor inside, but now I'm gonna put the resistor outside. I don't know if you can fit it in there. Probably can. No. Too much of a hassle. Okay, so I'm gonna put hole for a wire to go through. 2 wires actually. And a hole on this one. How many times have I launched this drill bit right into my finger? A few times. It's very sharp. Okay, it's all finished. I put some black paint and some varnish in there. So hopefully, I tested it already. It's not shorting, so should be good. Now, I haven't closed this yet. Just about to close it. So you see, I got the holes. Wires coming out one on each end. Hopefully it fits. Put it over here. There we go. And I'm gonna crazy glue this. Same reason before, so I could pry it open. See. Pretty nice fit. Just gotta squeeze it tight. So I'm gonna just test it while it's in here. Make sure it didn't short while I squeezed it together. Bring this over a little bit. Power it up. There we go. Looks pretty good. Next This death ray gun. So I'm just gonna glue this together, and we're almost done this video. Okay, it's all done now. So glad it's done. That was a long haul. You can see why I took so long to make my video. I was putting it off. Okay, so now it's finally done. There's still Tesla guns that go on here, but you already seen that, and it's the same process as the Annihilation Barge in my other video. And I'm not doing that till after anyways, so let's plug it in and see how it looks. Let's start off with the death ray, the death gun, I forget what it's called. Looks nice. And let's plug the Doom Scythe in there. Looks pretty good. Here, I'll turn off the lights so you can see a little bit better. How cool is that? Can't wait till it's all painted up. Okay, if you want to see how I built the electronics for this, and you didn't see it, it's the video before, video number 2 of the series. And there's one more video, and I'm going to paint that up and put it all together. And that will be the next video. And so subscribe and like, hit the bell button so you're notified when I put that video up. And it's not going to be a long painting video, I'm just going to show you stages. So I'll try to make it as quick as possible, but looking good so far. Can't wait to see this thing on the table. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.